Before I start, I have a few updates that I quickly want to address before we get into this video. I'm not going to be uploading videos over weekends purely because I want some time to rest where I don't have to think about recording or editing or uploading something. And I have quite a lot of things that I want to make, but they require a lot of editing, and I had a lot of more light-hearted ideas that should be up sometime next week. But again, those are going to require a bit more editing because they won't just be me talking. This type of video isn't necessarily a rant like my other talking based video I made yesterday. This is more me just discussing a topic. It's going to be a lot more relaxed, a lot more off the cuff and like spitbally. Just because I wanted to make something, a little easier to make, a little easier to listen to, that wasn't necessarily as long as my other video or as opinionated, because I'm really tired and I just wanted to kind of sit and get something off my chest actually, because this has been on my mind for a while now and I feel like it's something that I just want to bring up and address. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say on that, so let's get into the topic of the actual video. Where I live at the minute is exam time, and I've heard a lot of complaints about stress and low mood and anxiety, and I get that people are stressed in this specific period. But then I got thinking and I started to notice a rather disturbing trend, and it's something most people don't give a second thought to, but when you actually look into it, it's kind of serious, and that's that a lot of teenagers are actually sad in general, not necessarily within the exam period or high periods of stress. There seems to be a constant underlying low mood within a certain age demographic. Like, as I said, this can range from low mood, constant stress, anxiety, and sometimes lead to more serious issues like depression. This frequent sadness in people aged 16 to 24-ish seems to be ever present in schools, online, in the news, and especially in social media. It may not seem like a big problem on the surface, but you have to bear in mind that the leading cause of death in men aged 20 to 49 is suicide. Suicide in men of those age groups causes more deaths per year than heart disease and lung cancer, which is insane considering those are the leading causes of death in general. So as I was thinking over this topic last night, and I found myself struggling to voice something that seemed to be on the tip of my tongue, and then it hit me. Why do we bother? I realised that this was the main question behind most people who contemplate suicide or have low mood and depression. I'd never really realised how often I asked myself this question, and once I became aware of it, I noticed how frequently other people asked it too. Why bother studying if I know I'm going to fail? Why bother getting up if there's no reason? Why bother living if I'm not happy? Why bother is such a powerful phrase, and it can completely change how someone views their life. To bring this into an easier to describe situation, on YouTube, smaller YouTubers who don't get more than a handful of views per videos like myself may become disheartened at their lack of success. This would cause them to call into question why they even bother to make videos, since it takes up a lot of time and effort, and this may cause them to stop because they don't see the point in expending the energy for little to no reward. When it's put into that analogy, it's easier to understand the powerful effect behind why bother, and why it may cause someone's mind to change so drastically about something. The reasoning behind this is because they're placing doubt in their heads. And as sad as it is to say, as much as other people may encourage a person in that mindset to keep going and not to give up, it won't get through to them unless they decide to change themselves. Like I said, this seems to be an ever-present issue, and I think with the growing trend in social media and the rise of the internet, everybody seems to be far more self-conscious, and everybody seems to be trying to live for the opinions of other people. How many likes did my post get? How many views did I get? How many subscribers am I getting? Oh, this person's more popular than me. Do people think I'm pretty? Whatever it may be, it seems that other people are more concerned with the opinions of their peers and how they view themselves. And when you have this selfless attitude, it's so much harder to take into account how you actually feel and to change your own mindset, because you're constantly looking for validation from others. And it's just an issue that I've seen growing. I know this is a rather sad topic, so I wanted to end it with a little optimism and a bit of a silver lining in the form of advice. If you found yourself stuck in a situation that makes you wonder if the pros outweigh the cons, then I have a few pieces of wisdom for you, because I myself have struggled with anxiety and low mood most of my life. So this is my advice. For those who wonder why they bother doing a hobby, whether it be YouTube or art or sports. If you enjoy what you do and you get pleasure out of it, then that's just as justified a reason to continue as any other. It doesn't really matter what anybody else thinks as long as you're happy doing what you do. I mean, yeah, being recognized for your hard work is nice. It shouldn't dictate how you feel about yourself, and you should take pride in what you've accomplished. And for those struggling with darker thoughts concerning the whole idea of why bother, I'm afraid I can't offer a simple fix to your problems. All I can say is that there's always a reason to get up in the morning, and if you can't find one, then you have to make one for yourself, whether it be in a hobby or something you enjoy, or even for a person. There's always help available as well, and there's always going to be somebody willing to listen, so don't let a temporary feeling like low mood or stress or anxiety be the potential to cause a permanent end to your life. I know this is probably a heavier video than was expected, but like I said, this has been playing on my mind for a while and I needed to get it off my chest. It's not necessarily calling anything into question or giving answers to a certain issue, it's literally just my opinion on something and a trend that I've noticed that doesn't really seem to be taken seriously. I guess a lot of sad teenagers are just seen as edgy and often the butt of jokes, but symptoms that crop up in a lot of young people are of depression and anxiety, and they can lead to much more serious conditions, and I just think that there should be more awareness to keep an eye out for them. I'll probably have lighthearted videos next week. My uploading schedule may be a bit iffy for a while because I'm still getting the hang of things, so you're gonna have to bear with me. But also, thanks a bunch for more than 10 subscribers. I'm not gonna lie, I got really excited when I saw I had over 10, and I know it's a small number, but I didn't really expect to get any. And I guess this kind of relates to what I was saying earlier. It doesn't really matter what other people are doing, you should just kind of concentrate on making yourself happy. And at the end of the day, that's all you can really do for yourself. Anyway, have a nice weekend and I'll see you on Monday.